I just want to understand from you, sir, where do we need to start, especially when it comes to the fact that there is this fear that political parties will continue to pass the buck on over the next few years too. After all, the Congress was in power with Siddaramaiah as the Chief Minister till 2018. It becomes difficult as a Bangalorean in particular to believe that change can actually take place. What do you suggest, Professor? What are your opinions on this?
One obvious suggestion which may seem impractical and unrealistic, but possible still, is to somehow de-link the systems of urban governance from being under the direct control of political parties. I mean, if that can be achieved, when people have thought about, doing some such thing where not just for this urban governance department, but also, as you know, the police department and other departments, because their functioning is hampered by excessive interference by the political class. I mean, that's one solution. Other than that, frankly, I don't think the opposition parties have to try very hard even to turn this into an election issue, because, I mean, the issue is, like I said before, is so such, blatant, obvious evidence of malgovernance. And it is possible to see this as having accumulated over the years. But we do know when this was flooding last year, it became an issue of public deliberation, and the Chief Minister promised to look into it. We set aside a big amount of money. And on this matter, ma'am, a small digression, but a necessary digression, is the ecological factor. One immediate demand seems to be to somehow widen the stormwater drains, desilt them, and also concretize the borders to ensure effective flow of water away from the city. But some environmental experts have tried to question this particular method of trying to get rid of water from the city when the city actually needs water. They've asked, are there better ways of using this water? Should there need to be some coordination between the water planners as well as those who plan these sorts of the stormwater drains, etc., and also whether the concrete will prevent the percolation of water inside the earth, etc. So these are complex issues. It's not simply a quick fix solution of, let's fix the stormwater drains and everything will be fine. But how do you fix them? Are the modes of fixing them better because the water will be flooded out? Experts say, if the water is just being shunted out of the city, it's not as if everything is solved, because some other part outside the city will be flooded by this excessive water. It's not a situation where, like Singapore, for example, where, a stormwater drain takes out the water from Singapore straight to the sea. And that's not the situation we have here. So it is a complex question. And in the moment of panic, I think, it's only to be expected that people want instant solutions. But I think the time is for introspection, as always, while we try to rise to the occasion and see how best to avoid casualties, we will need a carefully thought out solution to this management. But I think, like everyone has been saying, and including me, I think we'll absolutely need to know, why is it that year after year, funds keep getting committed and the problem seems to get only worse? And is this corruption? Is this a failure of planning? What is it? Or is it just a question of the Western interest blocking any effective resolution of the problem by demolishing, illegally sanctioned buildings that stand on stormwater drain areas?
Professor, I'm going to request you once again to stay with us. I want to come back to you in a few minutes to ask you for examples of states across the country where we might have actually seen effective change over the years in urban planning. But I'll do that in just a second. We have another caller with us right now on the show. Sharda is calling us in from Bengaluru. Sharda, thank you so much for waiting with us. I know you were waiting with us for a few minutes there. Could you tell us how your experience has been over the last few days with Bangalore's monsoon?
Good morning, ma'am. I'm Sharda Ramakrishna. I'm a special educator. I'm a senior citizen too. But these days, I don't step out of the house mainly because it is very scary. Because of the potholes and the flood, I wonder why the government, I'm including both state and central government, why this simple thing they could not manage. If we raise some questions as normal citizens, they will say, oh no, it is not our job, it is center's job, and vice versa. As a layman, we are all educated people. Now I want to be a normal human being as a layman, not educated. What is the security and safety we are getting from the government? Nothing. Nothing at all. We all need to lead a good life, not luxury. We are not looking for any luxury in India. But the safety point is very bad. If we stay back home, for my age it's fine, but what about the youngsters? And this is the news we get to hear at least once in a fortnight, man. Young lives. And we all say youngsters are the future of India and what. Then how can we afford to lose such lives? It's very, very saddening. And the government, if they want to have their own method of doing it, let them do it. But what we need is good roads, mainly for the citizens. At times I used to think, if we all revolt and say, no road tax, do we deserve this? No. Having paid good amount of money from our pocket, hard-earned money, why should we go through this? Let any government answer this. I'm not bothered about central government, state government, or district panchayat. There will be plenty of civics we can learn. As a common layman, I want to find out why this is not happening. Why should we go through? I know India is a great country and we have a great heritage. Everything is fine. But what about our safety, man? Yes, and the flags are not getting removed easily. And we have somehow learned to live with all these ifs and buts. So the life is going to continue like this? I have a big question here for the government to answer. Thanks for giving me this opportunity.
Sharda, I'd just like to say thank you. We don't often get to hear from people who are both special educators. As you were saying, you also said you were a senior citizen. It's an honor to have you on our show. Thank you. I'd like to also thank all of the other guests and the call-ins that we've had every single day to discuss this issue on our show. How the heavy rainfall and the civic infrastructure and the failures in the civic infrastructure are affecting you as a resident of Bangalore. Thank you so much for watching. To the residents and the viewers watching from around the country, thank you for staying with us. It's